Actually, I am going 6-0 in the division because the rest of the division sucks.
This is the best division in football, Tori.
Take that step back. We are seeing the true quarterback that he really is, which he is not a very good quarterback.
Welcome to the Man Now, where we taking over. It's time to give you them facts. Won't miss a game or two, cause we here for you and we reporting all of them stats. We coming to you live to keep you updated. Broadcast across the country, we the fan favorites. Break the volume to the max and don't nobody touch it. We crossing topics off the list, addressing every subject. So if you ain't got a clue, then you can tune in and give it 24 hours and we back again. Breaking news, new scoops, we the top dogs. From the fields to the courts, we report it all. Buzzer beaters through your speakers, we the ones to call. Trust us for the news if it's got a ball. Giving you the top stories cause we love the turf. Tell a friend to tune in and where you heard it first. Yeah, you're listening to the Man Now. We taking over, it's time to give you them stats. Yeah, you listen to the Man Now. Miss a game or two cause we reporting all of them facts. Yeah, you listen to the Man Now. We taking over, it's time to give you them facts. Turn the speakers up a little loud. Miss a game or two cause we reporting all of them stats. Because you listen to the Man Hour.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckasha here with the Man Hour. Head over to manhourradio.com. Check out the merchandise page, and of course, check out the blog section as well, as we do drop new merchandise first of each month. So we do have some waffle merch coming here July 1st. It has been delayed a little bit, but it is officially coming because Mr. Wyatt Williams is back on air with us tonight. So speaking of the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Wyatt Williams, what's going on, T-Dub?
What is going on, man? I missed being on here. That's what I was texting you guys earlier, and I was texting Drew. Dude, I didn't know what to do with myself for so long. I'm just glad to be back.
Well, we are glad to have you back, and you know we talked to Combs a little bit last night. We talked to Tori a little bit last night as well. They told us what they did on their week off. So, what did you do on your week off? Why did you wake up before noon one time?
No, I did not. I think on my week off, I woke up at the earliest I woke up was like 2, probably 1:32, somewhere in there. It was actually kind of nice. Every day I woke up at around 1 or 2. My tee time on the golf course was about 3. Got up, got showered, went to the golf course, played golf for about 2 hours or so. After I golfed, hung out with Nikki, hung out with friends, and then we went to Ohio to see Nikki's family and went to the Columbus Zoo for Father's Day with my dad. That was fun. And yeah, Nikki got her wisdom teeth surgery 2 days ago. So yeah, we're life's crazy, man. We're having a good time though.
Well, I'm glad you are enjoying your summer because school is starting here very, very shortly for you, and then time just gets crazy here. But speaking of crazy, Mr. Tori Anderson himself is on the show tonight as well at @manouter_Tori. Tori, how was your day today, man?
I don't know. That was the whitest. I'm glad to be here. That Wyatt let out when he first came back on. It was like, "Hi guys, thanks for having me." My day was pretty good. I had a busy day. A lot of planning today. I made some spaghetti for dinner. Not in the What did you wait? Don't you make it in the microwave or some crap like that? No, you eat cold spaghetti. Is that what it is, Buck?
What are you talking about?
I don't know. You do something with your spaghetti that we were all like,
I'm so
why
confused.
would you do that? It's like putting sugar in your spaghetti. You don't put sugar in spaghetti.
I don't.
Oh, who does that? I thought that was just on Elf.
No, so
That's
like there's
a
people.
popular thing, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like
Seriously?
a lot of people will put a little bit of sugar into their spaghetti sauce. I'm like, no.
Oh,
well, one I'm diabetic. So
Oh, hey,
not
hold
good
on.
for me.
Speaking of foods that should be salty and are actually sweet, but it's the other way around. Have you guys tried the watermelon and yellow mustard TikTok trend yet?
I don't eat watermelon.
Watermelon and mustard is actually good. Like, I thought the person who tried it with, I thought they were crazy. Like, there's no way this can be good. And I tried it, and I promise you, it's weird at first, but it's good. I'm telling you. And I am a person who does not like weird foods. Like, I know people who eat I know someone who eats like a peanut butter, mustard, and pickle sandwich. And I don't do that stuff. But I tried this new TikTok trend with the watermelon and the mustard. Somebody talked me into it. I tried it. It's good. It's weird good.
You're weird.
I know. I thought I was weird for liking it. It was odd. But I'm telling you, you've got to try it at least once before you die. It is actually, it's like a perfect little mix of sweet and sour. It's good.
No.
I'm telling you.
No.
Okay, so we have some people jumping up in the stand here. Got Nana here. She says, "Hi, glad I get to watch the show tonight." We are glad you get to watch the show tonight as well, Nana. definitely very excited to have you back on. So if you guys are here, let us know you're here. Say what's up. Say what's up to the guys, because we have missed everybody here on the show. But last night, guys, we talked a little bit about the Las Vegas Raiders and Nassib offensive lineman coming out and saying that he is gay. Now we have had a full 24-hour news cycle go past on that, and it has been overwhelming support for this guy, in a positive light, saying that he has come out. So, Tori, is this a shock to you that the NFL players have been so supportive of Nassib?
Some of the names that are associated with are kind of like the names that you would be like, yeah, I could see, like JJ Watt came out in support of it, like some of them, but then you got like Malcolm Jenkins came out and like he's like all about, he's like, good for you, man. Julian Edelman's like, love is love. Like they were just the amount of guys that have come out and are behind him on this. The NFL came out behind him and now made a $100,000 donation, I believe, to the Trevor Foundation, which is one of the things that he was donating to as well. It's really good to see that like people aren't just, I'm sure it's happening. I haven't seen it yet, that people are shredding him for this, but NFL players are going, you know what? It's fine. It's okay. Whatever. We're behind you, dude. 100%. That is really good to see because it's 1,000% different than the Michael Sam situation when he was coming out of Mizzou. When he came out and declared for the draft, and then he said, "Yeah, by the way, I'm gay." He was the first openly gay college player that was going to probably be drafted. If he would have came out and said, "I'm heterosexual," he's a second or a third round pick. And then he fell to what, the 7th round, or did he go undrafted?
He went undrafted, I believe. And no, I think there were some mock drafts that even had him late first round.
Yeah, like he would have been a high pick. And but there again, to be a pioneer and to be a trailblazer at that, somebody had to do it.
Yeah.
And without Michael Sam doing what he did, Carl wouldn't have done what he did yesterday. And so therefore, I think he still deserves all the kudos in the world. But let's not forget that Michael Sam was the one that started this to get Carl to where he is at today. Sure. So I'm just shocked because of the masculinity trait that is associated with being an NFL player. I am shocked at the amount of people that are like, good for you, dude. Like, it's really heartwarming to see. So I am 100% shocked with it. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily shocked. I think I do agree with Tori. There were some names out there that I didn't think would stand up and say something. I'm not necessarily shocked though, because the world we live in today is so much more accepting and so much more open to so many different things. I was raised in a family that always taught that just as long as you're a good person and you love everybody, it doesn't matter what you're into, if you are gay, that's great. If you're straight, that's gay, or that's great. Whatever you're into is your business. Whatever. My parents always told me, whatever goes on in your bedroom goes on in your bedroom. That's your thing. What goes in my bedroom goes on in my bedroom. That's my thing, So I necessarily I don't care. It's good for Carl. He was able to come out like that. I give him kudos for that. But I necessarily am not. I'm not necessarily surprised that all these names were coming forward, because it's a much more accepting world that we live in now. We're seeing so many. We're seeing all of the pride parades. We've got a Pride Month now. Something like that never happened. In times of the past. So I do agree with you, Tori, that, we still have to look to Michael Sam for a minute. And I even mentioned that yesterday to some people whenever we were talking about it. That Michael Sam was kind of the original trailblazer on this. It is what it is. Just as long as you're happy and you're a good person and you treat people right, it doesn't matter what you do. Just be a good person. Love each other. I was gonna get us demonetized right there and start singing "If It Makes You Happy."
No,
but nobody wants to hear me sing.
But one of my biggest things that you guys keep harping on is you guys keep bringing it up, not harping on, is you are surprised about some of the names that have come out and supported. Like, why are there certain names that you are, surprised they come out and support such?
I think
said person.
To answer your question, I think it's because you would expect someone like JJ Watt to come out and say, like, hey, great for you, that's awesome. because J.J. Watt is just an outspoken guy about some of that stuff. But I feel like, especially Jenkins was another one. Tori mentioned that, and I thought the same thing too. Jenkins isn't really outspoken. And I'm not saying that, Jenkins is a bad person or anything, or I didn't expect Jenkins to support him or any of that. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying, like, you expect certain people like J.J. Watt, like Julian Edelman, who have always been open and outspoken about, social issues and have always been very supportive and loving to everybody. You would expect those guys to say something, but, I think there were just certain NFL players that I just was, I wouldn't say surprised, just I didn't expect them to say anything. I expected them to just look at it and move on with life. And it's great that they said something, seriously. I'm not taking anything away from them, and like I said, I'm not saying that they're a bad person or, I thought they wouldn't support it. That's not at all what I'm saying. I just thought that there would be, I don't know. I just thought there would be someone else that would have said it rather than the person who did. That's the best way I could explain it.
Okay, gotcha.
And for me, for guys, and like where I'm shocked, it's because these are people that were never his teammate. Like, you expect your teammates, like, because Max Crosby was one of the first people that came out, was like, awesome, whatever, golden, let's do this still. Like, that's his teammate. That's the thing that shocks me with it, is that all these people that are not his teammates, that have never played with him, but probably played against him, that have come out and they're like, you know what, live your life, dude, whatever, does not matter. Right. Like, that's gotta feel good as a player, to know that these people that you may have never met, but you competed against, still support you and what's going on with your life and what you just did. So I don't care who you are, that's a feel good thing. It's a extra motivator for you.
And then just to add of everything that you guys said here, Nana says, just be a good person, just be a good and kind person, and be a productive citizen. Like, I couldn't say that better myself. And if you guys see that little symbol by Nana's name, it's because she is a member over here at youtube.com/manhour, and she has supported us for $9.99 like a month. So she gets a hoodie for life every time she is a part of the Man Hour Nation. And we also see Luke G popping in as well. Luke G, what's going on, man? We are going to hit you up tomorrow because we're going to talk a little bit about your Detroit Lions tomorrow, guys. But coming up here on the show, guys, we are going to talk some USA basketball and, of course, some NBA conference finals as well. We are going to break down the Clippers and Suns moving forward. Game 2 is coming up. We got the infamous game of Guess Who as well. And then, of course, we got to talk a little bit about COVID, because COVID runs the world, guys. Let's just face it. That's the reason why Trump did not win the election, because of COVID, right, Tori?
Wrong.
All right, guys. We are going to take our first break of the night. Sit back and enjoy some musical mindsets of Michael Buckcasher here, as we do have some NBA basketball coming up right after the break, guys. We'll be right back here on the Man Hour.
What is your name?
What?
What is your name?
Buck!
Where did you get that shirt?
It's funny that you should ask that. Head over to manhourradio.com. You can pick up the shirt up. $15.
And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckhaus, Tori Anderson, and the Wyatt Williams tonight. As I'm finding, there we go. I'm struggling to find the brand here. There we go. Welcome everybody back onto the screen here as we do have the chat is starting to pop off. Thank you guys. Keep it going here. The gamble button is live, so as soon as Stacy pops in, she'll break it again because she needs her daily boat action over there. So shout out to everybody that is tuning in. But guys, it is time to talk a little bit about USA basketball as the 2021 Olympics, or sorry, I should say 2020 Olympics is getting ready to take place here in just a few weeks here. The USA team is starting to take shape. Some big names have committed. We have Kevin Durant has committed, James Harden, Devin Booker, Damian Lillard, Bradley Beal, Jason Tatum, Draymond Green, and the newest Bam Adebayo has all committed to Team USA. There has been some big names that have opted out, one being CP3. So, Tori, I'm going to kick it to you first. How is this Team USA team looking right off the bat for you?
It's starting to roll. The one thing that I'd like to see is there's guys actually opting into this. Also, Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday today have opted into to Team USA as well. It's good to see because, So yeah, like it's amazing to see like, oh, there's like 16 guys that get, or however many guys that get invited for tryouts. They're all NBA players. They're almost all-star quality players. They're like, some of you are going home. You're getting cut from Team USA. But the big thing is if you remember back in the early 2000s, Team USA struggled a lot to get any of the NBA players to want to even go.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see all these players actually getting up and saying, you know what? Yes, I want to go play. There again, and we were touched on it last night. These guys are basically coming off of playing basketball for a year and a half, almost straight. They had a month and a half between the end of the season and the start of the new season. So for them to like continue to go and they're like, you know what, let's go get this gold medal. I am 100% on board with it. It really, it makes me proud to see that the NBA players taking ownership of that team again. So, the dream team had never been heard of. We all knew when the dream team went, when it originally did, there was nobody beating that team. There was going to be nobody that came within 40 points of that team. And then, all of a sudden we showed a little mortality there in the early 2000s and they got beat. They didn't even make the medal game. So I think that was the team that I think Milo was basically the head of that team. And then after that, that's when Kobe kind of stepped up and Kobe's like, we all need to like take this serious. This is for our country. And Kobe, I kind of credit Kobe with bringing Team USA basketball back to the NBA stars and saying, you know what, we need to do this to go represent our country. So we went through a rough patch with it. It also there again helped the European game because now how many European players do we have in the NBA that may not have had the chance like they did early on? So it's overall good for the game if the USA basketball team is good. Just like for the World Cup, I don't know anything about soccer. So like if, I don't know what country is good in the World Cup. Who won it last time? Like if France is good.
USA won it. What do you mean?
For men's? No,
not for men's, for women.
For women.
The most recent World Cup.
The most recent, yeah. But like the men's team, like if it's the men's team, like I have no clue, does it? But it's a source of pride for those countries to win that World Cup.
The most recent men's World Cup winner was
Germany?
Germany, I think. Yeah, Germany.
So I was gonna say I'm pretty sure it was Germany that won it last. And
no,
but those countries
was it France? Let me look. I think it was France because they played Croatia. Remember, because Croatia had that crazy run.
No, I don't, because I didn't watch 1 second of it.
That's a good point.
I'm using that as an example. Like, but those countries all take that seriously, and it's one thing that as Americans we get a little entitled with stuff, and that's the way the basketball team kind of went at. It's like, I don't want to waste my time playing against these
France.
people. Was it France?
It was yeah.
So
you know who's a sleeper in the Olympics coming up this year? Slovenia.
Greece.
Do you know why?
Because I'm going to go play for him?
Yes. No, Luka. You seen he's already reported to him. The second he lost in the NBA, the playoffs, he immediately reported to Slovenia to start practicing to get Slovenia into the.
I don't know. If I'm going to take a dark horse, I'm going to take Greece because you're going to have 3 Antetokounmpos on that team.
That's true, but Luka's mean.
So, Tori, just to add to your point there, like anytime the U.S. does well in the Olympic Games or the World Cup or anything to that effect, we see a spike in that particular sport. Think about
100%.
Think about this when the women's soccer team won the World Cup. What was it, 2002 or something like that? And soccer just took off. Like I know back in Kansas, everybody was soccer crazy for the longest time there, and back in Kansas, we're like, what the hell is soccer, right? And then when the U.S. hockey team
and the dads started whipping the kids like, hey, get back out there in the field. What are y'all doing? Get out there.
Well, we don't really do that, Wyatt.
And they don't really have that twang, that kind of twang either, Wyatt.
File back on out there. You see that harvest moon? Get out there, boy.
Go on, get back to Paraguay.
Michael Buckheister, get back out there. You're supposed to be out there on the combine.
Well, okay, Wyatt. First things first. When you are a kid, you do not ride on the combine. You do not ride on the tractor. You walk behind the hay trailer in your
and throw it up there
onto the trailer.
You are bailing. You are bailing all day long.
Yeah.
You wake up about 5 a.m. and you're out there till at least 9:30 at night before the sun starts to set, and then you're back out there the very next day. So there is no riding this AC combine. Like, come on, man. Like, that's all rich folk talk. But moving back here to the USA basketball team, like I'm excited that players are opting in so early. The one name that I do not see on there is LeBron James. Do you guys think he is going to, once he starts seeing people like Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal and like all these guys starting to jump on the team, do you think he jumps on?
No, I don't. He already said that he was focusing on playing for the Toon squad this summer is what he said. So, and LeBron hasn't played in a Team USA uniform since, I think, 2008 was it? Was the last one he played in?
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
It was the one where they had the crazy squad with prime LeBron, prime Kobe, prime Carmelo. That squad
prime
was
Dwayne Wade, Ray Allen.
Yes, that squad was insane.
Well, and that's the squad that started bringing it back, and that's where I credit Kobe. That's where I credit Kobe with bringing the USA basketball name back to the top, because there again, prior to that, it had started going into the trash. We were getting beat by Brazil beat us the one year. It was Brazil or Argentina.
Well, it's just like the USA should always win the basketball. Should always win basketball Olympics because they have the best basketball talent in the world. The NBA is the top league for the world, and the USA's basketball programs, like for kids, like it's insane. Like we have kids out here now, but
the rules are completely different though in international play. Like if you take 3 steps to the ball, they're calling you for traveling. When the NBA they don't. Like the rules are a lot stricter when it comes to international ball like that, and that's where the USA falls behind because all these other countries stress and push the fundamentals of basketball, where the NBA players play more of a free, like a street ball style, and it's not going to fly because you're going to get called for a lot more things in international ball.
Why? Any thoughts on that?
No, I agree. I think that it's definitely more strict whenever you get to the USA thing, but still, the talent, strict or not, these guys still had to play high school ball, which is preached fundamentals. They had to play college, which is preached fundamentals. And they're the best basketball talent in the world. I'm sure they'll be able to figure it out.
All right, so Luke G says the Pistons should have got Luka. That's a homer pick if I haven't heard anything before in my life there.
Where the Pistons, the Hawks were the ones that picked him. The Hawks picked him, and then it's the fairest trade in sports history. The Hawks picked Luka, the Mavs picked Trae Young, and they traded. It's the fairest pick in sports history.
The Mavs already got their coup when they traded Robert Tractor Trailer to the Milwaukee Bucks for Dirk on draft night. Way to go, Bucks.
It's all right. Y'all developed Giannis. You'll be just fine.
I'm still salty about it. I'm salty
I can
about
tell.
the 90s.
All right, guys. So speaking of NBA here, the NBA Game 2 Western Conference Finals, it is going to be underway here in just a few hours here. But we do have the Suns take on the Clippers of Game 2 of the Conference Finals. So, Wyatt, give me your prediction and picks of this Game 2.
That's tough because it's going to be a good game. I already know that because both series, Eastern and Western Conference, are going to be incredible. Like I was talking pre-show, I don't think either one will go less than 6 games. I don't think we'll see a sweep by any chance, and I don't think we'll see a 5-game series. I think every series will at least be a 6-game series. Honestly, it all depends on Devin Booker. You know, Stephen A. said something the other day, and at first I kind of, turned my head and was like, what are you talking about? But as I thought about it a little longer, it made sense. Devin Booker is this generation's Kobe. I mean, the kid is incredible. Watch him play. His first conference finals game, he has a triple-double with 40 points. I mean, he just took over. He just said, yeah, this is my team. I'm going crazy. Like, yes, they've got the point guard. I mean, they've got good pieces around, but Devin Booker just decided, hey, I'm taking over this game. I am going to run the floor. I am going to do whatever I want to, and there's nothing that the great Clippers defense with Kawhi, arguably the greatest perimeter defender of all time. He's top 3 in that category. Then you've got PG, who's a good defender as well. A good defensive team in the Clippers, and he just went crazy on him. I mean, he had, 40, 13, and 11, wasn't it?
Yeah, but Kawhi's out. Kawhi didn't play game 1. Kawhi's out for the series.
Oh, he's out for the rest of the series?
Yeah, like they don't know if he tore his ACL or if he just sprained it. So if they were by whatever miracle they win it, and he's iffy for the finals.
I don't even know.
So yeah,
that. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
they're
still
without Kawhi for at least the series.
Anyway, still for this game tonight, it'll all depend on Devin Booker. If Devin Booker goes absolutely insane again, I could see the Suns walking away with it. And it's at their house as well, so I could see the Suns walking away with this one. And then once we go back to LA, we'll see how the Clippers fare. I didn't know about the Kawhi thing, though. I'm just hearing about this. When did it happen?
No, that's a couple days ago. It happened before. I think it happened before the series started. It might have happened in Game 7 of their series. Who did they beat? The Jazz.
Yeah, he didn't play Game 6 or 7 against the Jazz.
Oh well, I apologize,
Yeah.
and I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he's probably done for the year.
Sorry, I was in Ohio fighting off the in-laws.
So who are you taking then? Who are you taking in this game, Wyatt?
The Suns, I think, yeah. They take a 2-0 lead, especially if Kawhi's out. That
Suns, you
changed my
think?
whole perspective on it.
Suns, you
So-
think. Hashtag waffle.
Not even a definite answer. So
Suns.
I
yes,
think-
Suns.
I think I'm going to agree with Wyatt here. I think the Suns defend their home court. I think the loss of Kawhi is too much. PG is going to keep it close. It's going to keep it tight. I think perimeter-wise, though, the Suns are going to break them down. They will end up taking them out that way and taking that 2-0 lead. And then it shifts back to Los Angeles, and then we'll see. I think this could end up being a lot like the Bucks Net series, where it could go to Game 7, and you're going to see the home team win every game, potentially up until that Game 7, and maybe even then the home team wins it. But I will take the Pistons by 6 tonight.
The Pistons.
Or not the Pistons. I'm looking at Luke G's comment.
Yeah, I just looked at it. I was like, huh?
The Suns by 6 tonight.
So, as a wise man once said, a NBA series does not start until a road team wins. And I don't think it's going to start until game 2, game 5. I think you guys are correct, or at least Tori is correct here. The home team is going to hold face until game 5, and then that's when I think the Suns win game 5 and they close it out in game 6 back in Phoenix. So giving our man Drew here a finals team, his 1 out of 9 teams does make it to the NBA finals this season. But why you are absolutely right. Devin Booker has just been playing out of his mind.
No.
He we touched on this a little bit last night, but he is the second placed player to have 3 40-point games in his first NBA playoffs. Only behind Wilt Chamberlain, if I wasn't mistaken, on that. But on the list there was LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, and a few other big names. So I think Devin Booker is a man among men right now, and he definitely leads them to the promised land. Any closing thoughts, guys?
He went to the UK.
The UK.
The can't spell suck without UK.
Okay, you
true.
can't spell cheaters without Louisville. I mean, that
makes no
dumb.
sense, but
it does.
At the same time,
you can't spell lose without Louisville.
Yeah.
What?
Can't spell lose without Louisville. Do we need a spelling lesson there, Wyatt? Lose is Lose. So
where you said you can't spell suck without UK.
UK, yeah, right.
At least all the letters of my word are in there.
You can't. What? All mine are.
UK, University of Kentucky.
Yeah, you can't spell suck without it. UK SUCK.
Right. Louisville though. L as in Louisville for the first letter. O, second letter.
God.
There's a S. And then there's an E, so it's lose. All the letters are there.
Got
Not
me very
you can't be
confused
UK.
now. I understood. Never mind. You got me confused. Just move on.
As we derail the conversation here, speaking of losers, the Wisconsin Badgers coach, Greg Gard, was recorded by his players, and the tape was released to the press today. Basically, actually, I'm going to let the Wisconsinite himself give the backstory here a little bit, Tori. So go ahead and tell him what is going on up there in Wisconsin.
Buck, you're going to have to edit this because I may drop bombs on this one.
That's fine.
So I will try to keep it as PG as possible. So late February, the Wisconsin Badger basketball team was starting to struggle. They were starting to fall apart a little bit. 7 seniors went into Greg Gard's office to have a meeting with him to figure things out, to try to figure out what's going on. How do we get this team back on track? Greg Gard essentially lost that team. One of the players recorded the conversation with them. So they released 37 minutes of that conversation to the press. It was a 2-hour meeting with him where he addressed every single one of the seniors' concerns with the basketball team. One of the seniors said flat out, I don't think you care about us. I don't think you could care less about what happens to us as a player or, as a person. Another player had said, I don't know if somebody came to me and said, hey, man, you went to Wisconsin. Would you go there to play ball? He goes, I would have a hard time recommending you to go to the University of Wisconsin to play basketball because of you, coach. Another one said, I don't think our relationship can be repaired at all. I've lost all respect for you. Those are strong words coming from your senior leadership on a team that was very laden with seniors, with a team that had saw one player leave and transfer to Nebraska the year before. And well, that's all kind of come to a head too, where he's kind of a head case. He went to Nebraska, decommitted. There was that's a side story. Anyways, so the players right now that have graduated at this point all lost confidence in the head coach. One, I don't think that should have ever seen the light of day. That's between the players and the coach at that point. If it was something if it was detrimental to the team, if coach was way out of line with something like abusing players, stuff like that, this other stuff that you've seen other coaches lose their job for, then we got a different story. I am all about that because you are exposing something very scandalous. The fact, though, that you threw the head coach under the bus because you are spited because of the way the season went, and you think that the coach didn't care about you, to me, that's Bush League at that point. I am all for the players exercising their rights and, being taken care of and voicing their opinion. However, if you feel like those needs were not met while you were there, so you're like, screw this, I'm just going to release it to the media, I am not on board with that, to throw the coach under the bus. Do I think there could be repercussions? Absolutely, because within 20 minutes of the release of that tape to the press, there was already an issue statement by Greg Gard. Maybe they knew it was coming because it was really quick that it got released to the press about him caring about his players and upholding the traditions of Wisconsin basketball, like all that stuff in it. So, the big thing for me is I think, one, the traders really betrayed the trust of other players, because now if you're trying to sow discontent as a senior, you're gone. You're out of there after this year. But now you're trying to sow discontent because there's underclassmen there, and you're trying to undermine that head coach at that point. That's not for you to decide. That's for the university to decide.
Wyatt, what are your thoughts on that, bud?
I just thought it was crazy. It's one of those things where, like, you never kind of expect. I don't know if you did, Tori. Did you expect this coming?
The thing is, I'm not a huge Greg Gard fan the way it is. Like, as soon as the Badgers start to struggle every year, I always put like #FireGard on everything. So, like, I was actually really hoping that like George Marshall, was that the Wichita State coach that got canned? Yeah. I was really hoping at one point that Marshall would get the UW job, because he's always said he didn't want to leave Wichita State, and if he did, he would go to some school that's got a similar structure. And I think Wisconsin would have had, but then apparently he was beating the crap out of his players. So, don't no longer want him as the UW coach. I think that the university needs to go into damage control mode with it. I would think that they need to seriously look into it, because at that point, if you have 7 seniors on your team that are that unhappy with the play style, with the coaching, with feeling not cared about at all, that is an issue overall. I just think it was handled completely wrong.
Well, let me talk from a coach's standpoint. Sorry, Wyatt. Not mean to cut you off there. But let me talk as a coach's standpoint here. I mean, we are in the month of February. Our season's over in 2 weeks. If you really cared about your team, why didn't you come to me back in December? Why didn't you come back to me in November when everything was hunky dory? We were doing fine. We were having a time of our lives because we're winning basketball games. But like all of a sudden we're losing, and now I don't care about you. Get the F out of here. Because if I didn't care about you, I didn't care about you in November. My position didn't change from November to February as a coach. I don't care if we're winning or we're losing. Usually, because the old saying is winning cures all, right? So basically, the seniors were winning and they were having a good time. They're like, oh, we're ranked in the top 25. Everything's hunky dory, and then now we're losing to Indiana. Like that was probably the issue, was because they were losing basketball.
Indiana, man. I don't think they sunk that low.
No, and the thing is, this meeting happened after they got their butts handed to them by Iowa at the Kohl Center.
Oh,
so
Iowa. I'm sorry, it was
it was Iowa. So the thing is under under Gard, like the Kohl Center used to be untouchable. When Bo Ryan was the coach, the Badgers' win percentage at home was 90% under Bo Ryan, and it's gone downhill since Greg Gard took over.
That doesn't matter, but I mean, like, this is the point of, so when I become a head football coach, there are 3 things that I do not allow in my meetings. Just like as a defensive coach now, I don't allow things in my meeting. One of them is phones. Second of them is books. And third is like a tablet or like a computer. Because if you have that stuff in you, you are distracted. You're looking at TikTok. You're watching TV. You are doing this. You are texting your friends, right? You are not paying to what I have to tell you. So when these players recorded this conversation, what to me as this comes out, because Tori, I believe you said it was I
think they secretly recorded it.
Yeah,
but
they
like-
did secretly record it. It wasn't. It was without their knowledge. So there
Okay,
was.
so
there was
I think they put. Yeah,
there
I think they pushed a voice memo in their pocket and just let it play.
Well,
there
that's
was
a
a-
felony,
there was-
brother.
So there was 11 people in the room. There was Greg Gard, 3 assistant coaches, and then 7 players. So yeah, it was recorded in secret.
Well,
Like it was not known. And I agree with you.
Did you say
like,
that's a felony? Is it really?
yeah.
You cannot record somebody without their
somebody-
knowledge. Yeah.
Yep.
So with that being said, I mean, like they had other intentions when they went in there. This particular player's intention was not to get the team back on track. It was not to get their coach to like them. It was they had alternative motives the whole time they were in there. Tori, you know that, I know that, and why you should know that as well as a broadcaster. When something like when something like this gets leaked to the media, secretly recorded this and like all that crap, there was alternative motives the whole way. So with that being said, these players are pissed off because they sucked. These players are pissed off because they were not getting the proper playing time. They weren't beating the Big Ten schools. So they thought, hey, why don't we throw our coach under the bus just so we don't look like bad guys in the end. It was the coach's fault, right? I mean, that's what it comes down to, guys.
Yeah, I'm not gonna disagree. It was a season that started off really well and progressed and slowly went downhill. Like at one point, I think they lost 7 in a row, but like 6 of the games were against like top 10 ranked teams. It was like they had to play like Iowa and Ohio State and Illinois, like all teams that were ranked in the top 10. It was ridiculous. And by all means, they should have probably maybe took a couple of those games, but you can't fault them for losing that either. So I think, and I'm going to agree 100% with you, there was an ulterior motive. When you feel you have to secretly record something, you're not using that to just as, I'm just going to do this just because. No, you were putting that in your back pocket with the intent to use it to harm or to blackmail.
100%. Why? Any thoughts on this before we head to our next break?
No, I think Tori hit the nail right on the head.
Hit the nail right on the head. Alrighty, I like that saying.
Booyaka shock.
I'd rather be a hammer than a nail, the wise man once said. All right, guys, so we are going to take our next break. On the other side of the break, we're going to play the infamous game of Guess Who. I got some athletes here. We are going to do the best 3 out of 5. So the first person to guess 3 athletes correct,
God,
we
no.
will win. So, Wyatt, you are not very good at this game. I believe
I
you
am
are
terrible at this game.
So we do have a 3XL Chicago Bears t-shirt ready for you to wear next month. So hopefully you are getting prepared. But you do have a chance to come back. You can sweep the next 2-3 weeks and you'll be good.
Oh, God.
I'm so far ahead in this game that it's impossible for me to be in last place.
We'll be right back, guys. You're on the Man Hour.
Hey there, Mr. White T-shirt wearer dude.
Mr. White Shirt Wearer, dude.
Do you wear the same shirt every day?
Same shirt every day.
Do you do the same thing every day?
The same thing every day.
Don't you worry, Mr. White shirt wearer dude. Now with Man Hour merch, you can spice up your style each and every day. From hats to beanies to shirts, we got you covered, Mr. White shirt wearer dude. Shop at manhourradio.com. T-shirts start at $15. Shop today.
Why, thank you, manhourradio.com, for this awesome merch. Hats, t-shirts, $15. You can't go wrong.
Pretty obvious in that one. Dak's coming back off. You got Tom Brady, and did I mention 22 starters coming back?
When I say Lamar Jackson is trash, I'm not saying he is the worst quarterback in the league, but he is definitely not the best quarterback in the league. When you say somebody is trash, it is It is based off the perception of the general public.
Man Hour Nation brought to you by Brooks Roofing and Siding. Contact them at 812-868-7663 or online at brooksroofingin.com. Brooks Roofing and Siding. Protection you need when nature strikes.
And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckheisel, Tori Anderson, and the Wyatt Williams tonight. This episode is brought to you by Brooks Roofing. Head over to brooksroofingin.com. That's brooksroofingin.com for all your roofing and siding needs. They took care of me in my time of need, and they went to battle with me with the insurance company. I couldn't be much more happy with Bradley Brooks. So brooksroofingin.com, guys. Check them out if you are here in the southern Indiana area. Be much appreciated. So let's bring everybody back onto the screen here. We got Mr. Wyatt Williams at manhour_TWW, and of course the Tori Anderson, the myth, the legend himself at manhour_Tori as well. Both on the Twitter machine, both active on the Twitter machine. I have not been so active because I've been super busy and tied up with work and moving and buying a house. And here in the next 10 minutes, we'll see if they accepted our offer on the house, guys. So I'm kind of nervous. So bear with me. But guys, what?
Don't lie, Buck. You did been mostly tied up.
Oh yeah, because it was my anniversary. Hey,
it was
on number 3.
Hey.
Work on number 3. We're shooting for a girl. Actually, if my boys do not keep their clothes on, I might put them up for adoption. I'm not even going to lie anymore.
Nikki will take them. She loved them. As soon as we left from watching the other day, she looked at me. She was like, "Tell Buck anytime that she wants us to watch those kids, we will." It was so much fun.
So I sent you a video of Trip eating macaroni and cheese.
Yes.
Did you show Nikki that?
Yes.
Okay.
Dude, we were sitting there and I hear water hit the floor. Like I'm watching Wally with River. He had just calmed down for a second from running everywhere for a straight 30 minutes. And I hear water start pouring on the ground and I immediately look over and Trip is pouring water into his mouth and letting it run out of his mouth down his chest and onto the ground. And I'm like, buddy, you're supposed to swallow the water, not run it all over you. And then he goes, haha, and then throws the cup and just runs away. And I'm like, get back here. Run after him. And then, and River made me look terrible. So Buck pulls in the driveway, okay? And Nikki goes, hey, Daddy's here. River goes, Daddy's here. Literally sprints over, basically hurdles the dog. The what's it called, Buck? The dog holder.
It's called a baby gate.
Baby gate. Yeah, he basically hurdles it. I don't know why they call it a baby gate because River hurdled it. I mean, he had no problem with it. He got over it faster than I did. I'm trying to fumble over this thing and I almost fall down. Finally, I get outside and Buck's standing there. He's like, Buck looks at me and goes, "You just gonna let a kid walk out into the road? Is that what you're doing, Wyatt? Is that what we're doing here? You just gonna let River walk out here?" And I'm like, what do I say? He probably thinks I just let his kid run amok for an hour and a half. Wasn't watching him. God.
Buck was probably just happy he still had clothes on.
Yeah, 100%. So Tori, so obviously we eat dinner here at the Buckheisel at like household, and here on Tuesdays we eat out at KFC. That's kind of like our thing, and I got Trip some macaroni and cheese, and he is devouring the macaroni and cheese. It is it is from his forehead down to his chest, just covered, and he is full, and he has some macaroni and cheese left on his high chair. He looks at Cindy like out of the corner of his eyes, and he smiles. He chucks the macaroni and cheese onto our glass door. It's covered in macaroni and cheese, and he just sitting there. Motherfuckers. I was like, come on, funny. Dude. God, get out of here with that.
It kills me. It was so much fun. They would be wild and crazy for 30 minutes, just running, screaming nonstop, jumping off the couch, jumping on the couch, jumping off the couch, and then they would stop for 5 minutes. In those 5 minutes, you better get water, you better recoup because you got another 30 minutes coming up right after it. They were awesome though. We had so much fun.
All
When
right,
we
guys,
get
let's
when we
get
get done,
Go ahead.
when we get done, I'll have to in our group chat. I'll have to send you the pictures of the first time I ever fed my middle niece when she was 1. I fed her ravioli.
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah, those are some good pictures. I'll send them when we get done.
All right, guys, let's get into Guess Who. Guess Who is a play of that classic game of Guess Who. You ask yes or no questions to guess what player I am thinking of. So, Wyatt, since you are in last place, you do have a losing record here on the Guess Who hour. We'll let you decide if you want to go first or go second in this.
I want to go first.
You want to go first? All righty, Wyatt. Yes, no answer.
Do they play in the NFC?
No.
Do they play basketball?
No.
Do they play football?
Yes.
Do they play in the AFC West?
No. It's not a Kansas City's player tonight.
Do they play in the AFC North or East?
Yes.
Do they play for the New England Patriots?
No.
Do they play for the Buffalo Bills?
Yes.
Ooh.
Is it Josh Allen?
It is not Josh Allen.
I was about to say. It is not Josh Allen because it's Cole Beasley.
It is not Cole Beasley.
Is it Stephon Diggs?
It is not.
Thank God. Is it Cole Kmet?
No.
Is it Devin Singletary?
Or that's Dawson Knox I'm thinking of.
No.
Is it... Do they play defense?
No.
Okay.
Man.
I know who it is.
Well, it's your guess, so.
No,
It
your
is?
guess, Tori.
It's your guess.
Oh, it's mine?
Yep.
Do they play on the offensive line?
No.
It's Mitch Trubisky.
It is Mitchell Trubisky.
I knew
the
it.
backup quarterback for Mr. Josh
Yes!
Allen himself. So let me ask you guys this question. I bring up Mitchell Trubisky because there is another number 10 on the team of the Buffalo Bills by the name of Jake Fromm. Jake Fromm, I think he was the biggest slept-on player in the last year's draft or 2 drafts ago. Do you guys think Jake Fromm is ever going to blossom as a quarterback in the NFL?
No.
No?
No. Well, it's hard to
Not
say.
in Buffalo.
But the thing is, he won't blossom in Buffalo, but he can be developed in Buffalo. And I think that's probably why they drafted him. A lot of teams nowadays like to draft a young quarterback, even if they don't need one to develop him, because a lot of times they can use him for trade bait. They can flip him. I mean, it's like we talked about that last night. The Packers did it for years. The Patriots did it with Garoppolo. They did it with Jacoby Brissett. You know, if you have a good backup quarterback, you basically have a first or a second round pick that you can flip that quarterback for in your back pocket. Like Nick Foles. Nick Foles is another case of being a backup quarterback that could get flipped.
Alrighty, guys. So let's go on and move on to the next Guess Who. Wyatt, since you know what, we'll let you go first every time since you got your first one right here. I mean, you are 100% for tonight, and that puts you up for 35% of the season here. So, first question of
That's
the
a
night
big
for
jump.
you. Yeah, first question of the night for you, big guy.
Do they play basketball?
No.
Do they play baseball?
No.
Okay.
Baseball heavy
Are they
team.
in the NFC?
Are they in NFC? No, they're not.
Do they play in the AFC West?
No.
AFC South?
No.
So AFC North.
No.
Okay. So, do they play for the... Do they play for the Dolphins?
No.
Do they play for the Patriots?
No.
Is it Zach Wilson?
No.
Do they play for the Jets?
No.
So we're going Bills heavy theme here. Do they play for... Or no, what am I saying? Do they play offense?
Yes.
Do they play a skill position?
Yes.
Is it Cole Beasley?
It is Cole Beasley, Wyatt. Wow.
Let's
2 for 2 for
go!
Wyatt Williams. The reason why I bring up Cole Beasley tonight is because he says he is not getting vaccinated. And, Tori, we covered a story was about a month ago, and the Bills owner said that he will cut players that are not vaccinated on the team. So, Tori, you said you can cut these no-name players, but Cole Beasley was a staple for the Buffalo Bills this last season. Does Cole Beasley get cut because he's not getting vaccinated?
Yes. I'm going to say
Yes,
yes. You know why? Because they signed Emmanuel Sanders. He all of a sudden can become expendable. So I think if the owner doesn't want to lose faith, he's going to cut him.
Yeah.
Because he said that's what he was going to do. And honestly, Cole Beasley got bumped down a little bit because of the Emmanuel Sanders signing.
I think Cole gets cut, and I think Cole goes somewhere else and gets, if there was a most improved player award in the NFL, I think he would get it. Cole Beasley is one of those guys, like if you talk to any quarterback that he's ever played with, they will always tell you, like, he is always open. Like, anytime you look at Cole Beasley, the guy is open. Now, it's not always where you want to throw it. It's always, between 2 and, 8 yards most of the time, but he's always open. Like, Dak Prescott, Tony Romo, Josh Allen have all said that. Like, any time that you look over at Cole Beasley, the guy's standing there wide open. It's crazy.
Alrighty, guys. So let's go ahead and move on to the next Guess Who here as I push some buttons here and beep-boop some things. Why? You are 2 for 2 for the night. Do you want to continue the trend of going first, or do you want Tori to go first?
I want to go first.
All right, give me 1 second here as the construction added widgets are loading up. And bada bing, bada boom. Go ahead, Wyatt.
Does this person play basketball?
They do play basketball.
Do they play in the Western Conference?
They do play in the Western Conference.
Okay. Did their team make the playoffs?
Their team did make the playoffs.
Is it Devin Booker?
It is not Devin Booker.
Is their team still in the playoffs?
Yes.
Ooh.
Do they play for Phoenix?
They do.
Is it Chris Paul?
It is Chris Paul. Dang, Wyatt, you are 3
go!
for 3 for tonight.
What is happening?
I kind of eliminated the other one because I'm like,
right,
I'm surprised true. I'm surprised Buck knew who Chris Paul was.
Right.
So the reason why I bring up Chris Paul is because he is out indefinitely because of the COVID protocols here. Wyatt, we touched on this a little bit last night. Do you think Chris Paul makes it back to make a good run with the Phoenix Suns this year?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Chris Paul has shown this year how underrated all time as a point guard he is. This year solidified in my head that Paul George is the top 5 point guard of all time. What he's done this year, God dang it, sorry. Chris Paul, I apologize. Chris Paul has showed me, and I shouldn't even say showed me because he showed everybody his entire career. But he was the most efficient player this year in the NBA, stat-wise, at the top of the key and inside the top of the key. That is what he should do. That he is a point guard. That is what that is the whole role of what he does. And he did it to sheer perfection. And it was awesome to watch. So yes, I think anytime Chris Paul's on the floor, whether if he's 100%, whether if he is not 100%, because we saw him play at not 100%, and they still were able to beat the Lakers, he is just playing out of his mind this year, even better than he has before in previous years. I love watching the guy play. So yes, just as long as he's on the floor, he is going to make a difference for sure.
Tori, what are your thoughts?
I think so. I think they're going to make Chris Paul sit for the 2 weeks. The guy is a difference maker. I think he comes back for the finals. I bet he probably misses this whole series. But he comes back for the finals. And when my Milwaukee Bucks make the finals, that's bad news for my Milwaukee Bucks.
Can the Phoenix Suns beat the Clippers without Chris Paul?
Yes. because they are without Kawhi.
Yeah.
So if Kawhi was playing, that like the Clippers would win the series.
Yep. So I believe
I don't
so.
know.
So this is breaking
so.
right now. The Detroit Pistons. So
Got the
Luke,
first pick.
if you're probably partying like it's 1999, but the Pistons won the lottery, so they got the number.
I've been
one
watching
overall
it in the
pick.
background.
So
Praying.
Cade Cunningham, welcome to a career-ending job in Detroit.
Right. That's what I was looking at. Well, the final two choices were between that and Houston, and I was like, well, Cade Cunningham's screwed. Like, either way that this goes, he is screwed.
Yeah, but Houston at least tries to build around players and tries to put a product on the court. Versus,
Yeah, but there's nothing there right now.
it's
That's the only
Detroit.
problem he's going to run into.
That's
There's
the
nothing.
but that's the thing. At this point, they are so down. It's a city at this point. The city sports are so downtrodden. They will hold on to anything. That's a good glimmer of hope. And at that point, you become a god in that city if you are the one that starts rebuilding and putting that team back on the map.
So let me ask you.
All right, we got
this. Let me ask you this question here. Since we're kind of going, kind of off the cuff here a tad bit. Does a team like Oklahoma City give Detroit Pistons one of their 26 first-round picks in the last 3 years to get a Cade Cunningham?
I hope so. Can you
don't
imagine?
think so.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA mixed with Cade Cunningham. Wow. I mean, that would be awesome. That would be so awesome. I hope it happens. I don't think it will, but I hope it does.
I will tell you why it won't happen. And it's because there's not a generational talent in this draft. If there was a LeBron type, if there was a Kobe type, like if there was a generational talent, they would throw every draft pick they could to get that number one pick. But there's not. They're good. They can literally
Cade's pretty
sit back,
good, man.
Yeah, but he's not. He's going to be I think he's going to be like a Devin Booker, where it's going to take him a couple of years to really get going. That's his game. Reminds me a lot of
City
Devin.
a couple years to really get going because they're literally going to have an NBA team full of 18-year-olds.
Absolutely. But with all those draft picks that they have over what is it like the next 3 to 5 years or whatever.
So 2025, I think they have 26 picks.
Yeah. So you can literally wait it out before you throw a ton of draft picks at somebody, or if there's somebody that you know that you can trade for. That's going to be an absolute difference maker. Like, so now, like, if Oklahoma City, say Ben Simmons hits the trade market this offseason,
he will,
which probably will happen.
Yeah,
they could probably buy low and not have to give up a ton of draft picks for him because they'd still have they could probably give up 2 and still have 24 picks left.
I don't know with how bad that guy is getting just obliterated on social media right now. And these NBA, whether if they admit it or not, these front offices absolutely listen to the social media platforms because you listen to your fans and see what makes them happy because it's what draws them in. With seeing what's said on social media right now, do what?
Did you hear the other one that he's talking about switching to learn how to shoot left-handed now instead?
It's so stupid. It's ridiculous. I mean, the guy. It's. I shouldn't say it's ridiculous. It's sad to see because the guy's confidence is legitimately at a level -2. Like, it's horrible.
Oh, yeah.
The guy had a wide open layup and passed the ball. That is,
he was under the basket. He
could have dunked it.
He was under the basket. He couldn't have made that shot.
He could. He's an NBA player. I promise you, he could have made that shot. I guarantee it. Actually.
You can't make a shot when you're under the basket, Wyatt.
Yes, you can't jump up and reach out and dunk it, or jump up. Flip it off the backboard. He was not under the basket. He was to the side. He went up and then went under and passed.
Wow,
it.
this ain't Wednesday night church league playing against a bunch of 14-year-olds.
They're 12.
In which I do ball on them, by the way. Okay, I let that little kid have it. I stiff-armed one in the face the other day as I went up to dunk. No, I'm just kidding. I can't dunk.
All I can see is Wyatt like Billy Madison. These kids like, oh, somebody's in trouble now.
Yeah. That's exactly what happens.
So, Wyatt, before I cut you off there, what were you going to say about the NBA draft?
No, I was going to say about Cade Cunningham. I think he compared him. Who did you say you compared him to? I'm sorry.
I compare him to Devin Booker.
See, I compare him to. I don't think he's as good of a shooter as Devin Booker. I compare him to more of a Russell Westbrook in his prime, where Russell just drove to the basket and slashed. I mean, I think he's a pure slasher and playmaker.
Still in his prime. He's still popping triple.
Well, that's true. Right. But I'm talking about his OKC prime, whenever the guy averaged like a triple-double for 2 seasons straight or something crazy. I mean, he did it again this year. Was close to it. Yeah.
He did do it again. It's the third time he's done it.
It's crazy. But I see him as more of a Russell Westbrook, where a guy who can shoot when he needs to, but still struggles a little bit from the perimeter. But, dude, he can slash, he can pass, he can rebound. His playmaking and his defensive abilities are ridiculous. And like I said, he is a slasher. I like a Russell Westbrook as my comparison. I think he is a Russell Westbrook number 2. That's why I think he's and I do agree with you, there's not much superstar talent in this draft. Now, of course, I say that, and all these guys are going to end up being insanely good, of course. But I think Cade Cunningham is really the only guy who has serious all-time NBA talent. Other than that, I mean, Jalen Suggs is going to be a good guard, but I don't see anything crazy coming. I mean, Jalen Suggs has some potential.
Yeah, Green's going to be decent.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of guys that have potential to do it, but if you're going to talk about superstar potential, I think Cade Cunningham is the only name that really comes to mind in this class. I don't even think I don't think Jalen Suggs is there yet. I really don't. I mean, and I think Jalen Suggs is great, but I just don't see it yet.
Alrighty, guys. So let's go ahead and move on to the next topic here. Or do you guys need a break, or do you guys want to carry on?
Just carry on, man.
Carry onward, my way,
Carry on, my wayward. Oh, bye, Kansas.
Carry on, my wayward son.
Sing it, Wyatt. Sing it.
I'm just kidding. Sorry.
There will be peace when you are done.
Wyatt karaoke.
I am a karaoke master. All right.
What is your go-to karaoke song, Wyatt?
Huh?
What is your go-to karaoke?
My go-to karaoke song, "International Harvester" by Craig Morgan, baby.
I don't even know what that is.
Let's hear it.
No. I'm good.
Do it. Do it.
No.
Do it.
No, I haven't sung karaoke since I was a little kid. My grandpa owns a store, and they have karaoke nights on Fridays, and I used to go up there and sing. It was so much fun. But, yeah, my singing days are over, boys. I talk now.
Do you want to know what my go-to song is?
What is
I'm
it?
Sexy and I Know It.
"Wanna Be" by Spice Girls.
Mine's "Party in the USA" by Miley Cyrus. That's my favorite song ever. I swear to God, it is.
There you go, ready?
Mine's "You Want It That Way" by the Backstreet Boys.
What's your go-to song, Tori?
Was it you or "I Want It That Way" by the Backstreet Boys?
Oh yeah.
Tell me why. You ever seen that scene in Brooklyn Nine-Nine whenever they're trying to find out who murdered this girl's sister? And she's like, the person who did it was singing "I Want It That Way." And he goes, person number 1, sing the opening to "I Want It That Way." And he gets all 5 of them to sing it at the end of it. He's real pumped, and everybody starts going, yeah. And then he looks over at her, and she goes, "It was number 4. Number 4 killed my sister." And he goes, "Oh, I totally forgot about that."
That show, I will say, Brooklyn Nine-Nine is a classically underrated show.
Oh, it's so good. I haven't seen the whole thing. It's one of those The Office, Parks and Rec. It's one of those kind of shows that are just amazing. I love them. They're hilarious. I want to actually watch the whole thing.
Alrighty, guys. Let's get into some NFL talk here. As the COVID pandemic starts to come back down to reality here, NFL teams one by one are starting to announce that they will be full capacity in the 2021 season. Why? I'm going to kick it to you first here. Do teams really need to start to announce that they're doing full capacity since we're starting to come out of the pandemic?
Hey guys, I was at the mall a couple days ago, and I walked past the kids' play set, walk into a store, and it's been closed for months, and there were kids in it playing. So, and now we're seeing stadiums opening up. Does this mean we beat COVID? Is that what this means? Do we beat COVID?
Maybe.
Did we?
Till whatever variant kills us.
Right. No, I love it, honestly. I cannot wait. Especially as a broadcaster, because fans, and before COVID, I didn't really notice how big of a, and I shouldn't say I didn't, because I did, but you don't really notice as a broadcaster how much that the fans play a part in the game until they're not there. And when they're not there, you really see it. And I can tell you from calling games, I've called games before where it's an Indiana high school basketball game and there's 8,000 people sitting around you and they're all screaming and it's loud. And I've called games before in the same 8,000 seat gymnasium and it had 100 people in it. And it's odd. It's not how life should be. And I personally am beyond excited. I cannot even explain it, how excited I am for life to just go back to normal. To be able to watch a sports game and hear the roar of the crowd again when somebody hits a big shot. When the ball goes out of the outfield and it's a home run, hear the place go crazy, see the camera shaking because the crowd's so loud that the camera can't even stay straight, and the broadcasters have to scream over the fans. I cannot wait. But I mean, it is a dynamic part of sports that we didn't even know that we needed, but we did at all this time, and I can't wait. I am so fired up to see, Lambeau Field just filled to the brim again. I am so excited to see 70,000 people sitting next to each other, cheering on and watching the great sport of football, in all sports in general. I cannot wait for it. I can't even tell you how excited I am. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be very cool.
Wyatt. You completely missed the point of the question. You completely blew over it. The question was, do they think you need to advertise it? Because the Packers announced last week Lambeau Field will be at full capacity. Today it was the Seahawks announcing that CenturyLink Field will be full capacity. To me, I don't think that the teams need to just go around and announcing. You could be like, yeah, we're going to do full capacity. I think a lot of the NFL teams,
Twitter, everybody will see it,
right? Or even baseball's doing it. The Brewers were at 25% capacity, and I think as of the June 25th, they're going up to 100% capacity. So, I don't like it because I think teams are using it as a PR stunt, and I don't think that that's right. And this is just me morally as a person. Don't think that that's right that you're publicizing it. We're going back to 100% capacity, as a celebration. I mean, still 500,000 people died because of what, happened. We got through it, absolutely. But you are publicizing the fact that we are back to what we were. And that's the only thing I don't like with them. Everybody announcing hey, we're going back. To me, it's still, still there's 500,000 people that will never get to watch. If they were sports fans, they'll never get to watch that type of stuff. So for me, I'm just yep, we're going back to 100%. The NFL should just say, yeah, guess what? We're opening everything up. The NFL should make that mandate. The baseball should make that mandate. It shouldn't be coming from the individual teams. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of the way it's being handled on a team by team basis.
You are not a fan of it, Tori.
You don't think it should be celebrated?
Not individually, like I said, not individually as a team, or individually team by team as on a team by team basis.
But
I just think I agree to a point there, but I still think that it should come from an official NFL from the headquarters. Same thing with the commissioner's office. Doesn't matter the sports, it should come from the commissioner's office. I get it. I just don't like it because it's being turned into a publicity stunt. I get it. It's to hype people up. It's to get people excited to get back into the stadiums and stuff like that. It's just I don't like the way it's being done. And it's just me personally on that point.
And see, I agree with you. I don't think it should be a what's the word? I don't think it should be a PR situation where, they're making it to where they'll sell more tickets. You know what I mean? Because they're looking at it in a money dynamic. I do think, on the other hand, it should be celebrated because, yes, 500,000 people died, and that is horrible. But at the same time, the reason why these 500,000 people died is coming to an end, and we're seeing the end of that tunnel, and we're now celebrating their lives, and we're moving on to bigger and better things that the future holds. I think that's a big part of it, but I do agree with you that these teams shouldn't necessarily use it as a PR stunt or something like that. But I do still think that it should be celebrated because this is a big win. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, to see fans in the stands again, it adds. It's sports. It's the great thing that sports is. Sports does one thing above everything else in the world, and that is brings people together. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah. So when the Packers have their first home game of the season, and me and Buck are sitting in the stands, and we FaceTime you while you're at college, you'd be like, "Hey, look where we're at."
I'll be watching on TV.
Although I am going to work on the Luke G thing. I think I'm going to try to hook Luke G up with tickets to the Packers-Lions game because I should be able to come across those pretty easy for a game at Lambeau. So, Luke, if you're still listening, I'm going to try to hook you up, brother.
So, why it is funny that you say that, sports brings fans together because ever since these stadiums have been allowing fans back into their stadiums to watch the basketball games, we've seen fans spit on Trey Young.
Right.
We've seen
forget how to act.
We've seen boxing matches in the nosebleed,
insanity.
So,
water bottle.
Are we really? Is this something that we really should be celebrating? Because quite frankly, we didn't have that stuff. We didn't have the massacre in the palace or whatever the hell it was called. When the fans weren't there. But now all of a sudden it seems like once every 3 or 4 days we are seeing something new about the fans that are doing, whether they're spitting or starting fights or the Game and 4 type thing.
We're turning into international soccer matches here, where there's riots in the stands,
exactly.
People dying.
No, literally, that's what we've talked about this many times. It's like people spent time away from sports and just forgot how to act in stadiums. Like, oh hey, yeah, it's totally okay for me to throw a bottle at Kyrie and just try and hit him in the face. Did you see that thing go by his face? I mean, it went like if Kyrie was one step ahead of where he was, he got slapped in the face with a water bottle. Like, it's almost like they just forgot how to act.
So let me ask you this question here, Tori. I'm going to kick it to you first here, and then why I want you to follow up. At what point, how far do fans have to go before these sports teams you know what, we're not going to allow fans anymore in our stands, period, because we're tired of all these fights and people getting spit on and everything else? What has to happen?
It will not matter. No matter what, the teams will bend to the fan because guess what? That is money, and that is all green. So they will bend. They will put whatever precautions they have to keep the players, the coaches safe. So I just think that they will never do anything. They'll do stuff to ensure that the players and the coaching staffs are safe in any sport. However, it's still going to be a free for all in the stands between the fans. So I bet by next year, those entryways and stuff like that for the NBA, I bet there's plexiglass up along those areas by next year because of the crap that happened in the playoffs this year, so that you can't get totally at the players.
So no more courtside seats?
No, you'll still have courtside seats. I'm talking about where Kyrie, where he was walking to the locker room, the entryways into the lock. I bet they put barrier clear plastic plexiglass barriers up there so you can see the players, but they won't actually be accessible, unless you chuck it 30 feet in the air or something like that. So I bet they do stuff like that because they will always try to protect. Well, that's what makes them their money. That's their property at that point. They're going to do what they got to do to protect their property, because if they don't, they lose money.
Well, sorry, Wyatt, but I disagree on that. Like, I think there's more money in TV deals than there are people in the stands.
No way.
Because like if you don't have people in the stands, you don't have to pay security guards, you don't have to pay concession stand workers, you don't have to put up that media.
Yeah, but you also won't make that money from concession stands, from your pro shops, from your ticket sales. I mean, the average price. I'm just going to take what Tori said one step further. The average price of a pro sports game ticket at this moment in time, from 2000 till today, is $120. That's the average price. That is saying, let's say they don't have to pay for parking. Let's say they don't have to pay for food. They're not going to eat anything while they're there. And they're not going to get anything at the pro shop as well. Okay? $120, which all that is fake. Everybody gets all those things while you're there.
I don't.
Okay. So let's say all they got was a ticket and sat down and watched the game. No food, no nothing. That's $120 on average per seat. And these stadiums, some of them are seating, close to 100,000 people. I mean, no matter what happens, they would plexiglass the entire stadium where the fans are locked away from the players before they ever said no fans. That would happen. They would make the fans leave before the players. I mean, I'm just thinking off the top of my head here. There's a million things that would happen before these pro sports teams would do literally anything before they ever said no fans again.
Right.
Because they lose so much money in that.
Plus the money that goes into the communities in the city,
right,
and that on the game day. So, and I'm just speaking from experience on this. On average, a weekend for a Packer game is $25 million into the Green Bay community for that weekend alone.
That's crazy.
When the Badgers played LSU up at Lambeau, they made $75 million from people coming in that weekend. So if you take that aspect of the fans being around in those areas, it doesn't only decimate the team, it decimates surrounding businesses. And I will tell you again, because money rules everything, that will never happen, that they let those fans take away those fans, because it would just destroy the economy around it. So they're never going to let that happen. Although I was thinking, I'm like, God, what if they plexiglassed all around like a football field, like to a certain height, like a hockey rink? Can you imagine having that front row and how many people, how loud that would be if everybody in the front was banging on the plexiglass while they're trying to do the cadence? You would not hear anything and probably be deaf by the end of that game.
Yeah.
All right.
That's.
Guys,
I mean, like I said, there's a million things they would do before they ever said no fans. Because when you lose fans, you lose millions, and honestly, I should say billions. If you take away fans, let's just say L.A. And I know that I'm using a big city here. Let's say L.A. takes away all fans for all sports for the entire year. They would lose most likely over $1 billion easily. And I think we could say billions of dollars is what they would lose, because you got to think.
And I disagree with that, because I think a big city like LA and New York, etc., they will get people in there spending money anyways. It is these smaller communities like Lambeau, like Kansas City, trying to think of some other small non-destination locations, Cincinnati,
right.
Portland,
Cleveland,
Milwaukee,
Oklahoma City, stuff like that. Yeah. So, but there again, your markets that are going to survive is going to be three of them. It's going to be Chicago, it's going to be New York, and it's going to be Los Angeles. LA. The rest of them, it's going to. Maybe throw
Dallas might make it. I don't know though.
Yeah. Right.
I like Dallas. Go Cowboys. Cowboys Nation.
You hush up. You also think the Lions are going to win 12 games.
That is true. So, speaking of winning 12 games here, the New York Football Giants and Saquon Barkley, he is looking pretty damn good during OTAs and minicamp here. He is running and cutting like he did his pre-injury last season. Wyatt, I'm going to kick it to you first here. Is he going to be the comeback player of the year?
I don't think this year. In the future, yes. We've seen a trend with running backs. The first year they come back, they struggle a little bit. But that second year is really kind of when if they're going to take off, they normally take off. So, yes, he looks good now, but that's also he's not getting hit. He's not being touched. None of that stuff. He is just cutting on his own. And yes, that's tough to do after a torn ACL, absolutely. But you're taking away literally all factors except for the fact that, like, he's just cutting back and forth with a ball in his hand. Like, so I don't necessarily – I mean, I think he'll be healthy for this year. And I think that Saquon will, in a sense, return to some bit of normalcy. But I think it'll be one season of kind of figuring things out, becoming comfortable again with that knee. Because when you have an injury like that, it takes a little bit for you to be comfortable again with that section of your body 100%. You still kind of wince a little bit when you jerk on that knee a little bit. So I think, he'll take this year to kind of figure things out, get everything lined back up. And then I think if he's going to have a takeoff season, it'll be next year. I think that's kind of what I'm ballparking on him.
Tori, what about you?
I'm just trying to figure out why. Do you not know what comeback player of the year means? You're like, I don't think he gets it this year, maybe a couple years from now.
No,
comeback player of the year. So you're saying he's going to get hurt and miss the season again this year?
No, but I mean, if you're not 100%, you can still get it.
No, it's generally for a player coming off of injury that gets comeback player of the year. And then there again, Adrian Peterson broke the mold with that. Did you not see what Adrian Peterson did 8 months after he tore his ACL? He ran for what? Almost it was like 1,800 yards. I mean, granted, that was a freak. He is a freak. I mean, he was still a productive running back up until last year in the NFL. So I think he does win comeback player of the year. I think he absolutely is the front runner for it. This is a Giants team, I think, that is going to surprise a lot of people. I do not think they are going to be a great team, but I think they are going to be a much improved team. I think Daniel Jones takes a step forward. They finally have weapons all over that offense. They are building a semblance of an offensive line there. And that was the biggest thing last year for Daniel Jones, and why he regressed a little bit is because he did not have a very good offensive line. But so I think Saquon Barkley, yes, becomes the comeback player of the year. He has to be the front runner for it because I think this is going to be that improved team. Do they make the playoffs? No, they don't. I think they're probably 2 or 3 years away from that.
And for everything that you just said, Tori, that is the reason why he will not be comeback player of the year, because he will not. They will not make the playoffs this season. And you know who will? The Dallas Cowboys will. And Dak Prescott is definitely the front runner to win comeback player of the year. They will win this division at 10-7. And you know, we always reward success. Why did Alex Smith win comeback player of the year? Because he was successful.
Because he was able to set foot on a football field again.
Because he almost died. He literally was on his deathbed.
So the fact that he played
as a starter.
Here we go. This is a good. Here, look at this. This is a good point. I was about to say this. Drew mentions it though. I think Burrow might get it. Me too. I think Burrow has a good shot at it as well. I think Burrow is a guy. I didn't even think about it though, Buck. That was a good name you mentioned, Dak. That's the star sells. You know, it is one of the most iconic labels in American sports, if not the most iconic label. So that sells, quarterback sells, and he is both of those. He's a part of that organization and he's a quarterback. So I think Dak has a really good shot at it if he comes back. If he comes back and wins that division, I think he'll win it because that takes away everything from Saquon. Now, if they come back and the Giants win it and they win the division and they go on to, play in the playoffs, then
how
sure, I
about
think
neither
Saquon
one of them are
will get
going to win it because the Redskins are going 13-4.
Okay.
So Tori, let's say the Redskins do win that division, and the Dak, and Saquon both have mediocre seasons, and Joe Burrow has a just as successful season as his rookie year, but they're still 4-12 or 4-13 on the season. Does Joe Burrow win the rookie or comeback player of the year?
No, and the reason why I think that he will not get the attention for comeback player of the year like that is because of the market he plays in. That's going to be the biggest thing that hurts Joe Burrow because it is a smaller market team.
Wyatt, what are your thoughts on that? Anything?
If they win the North, I think he'll get it. I mean, I don't know. I think those are three good viable options. I think
it's not the question though. The question was if the Redskins win the East, the Cowboys and the Giants finish the same, and the Bengals go 4-13, but Burrow has a impressive season, does he get it though?
Oh no, definitely not. Then that's what I'm saying. Like no, but
you're not. He can't get the press run where you can hide a bad record and a good season in a market like New York, in a market like Chicago, in a market like LA. You can't do it playing in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
You guys, Tori, you definitely hit the nail on the head there as a quote from Mr. Wyatt Waffle himself. So speaking of the New York Football Giants here, you know, like I thought last year they improved by not having Saquon Barkley in their lineup last year. You know, Daniel Jones had the ability to grow as a quarterback, I thought. So, Wyatt, have the Giants taken the necessary steps forward this year to be a legit threat in the NFC East?
Yeah. I mean, I think that they've made some good moves. Bringing in Galladay, that was a big one. I think that really improved a already underrated wide receiver staff. So I think that was a good move, as well as they've been silently building something in New York for a little bit. I think Daniel Jones gets a lot of hate. I think he's actually a decent quarterback, and I think he'll prove that this year. If Saquon comes back and is 100% and plays very well, I think that also adds to it. The offensive line is starting to look up a little more. So the pieces are definitely starting to come together. So I think that there's a big shot for New York doing something special this year. Absolutely. I think they've got a really good shot at it, actually.
Tori, you do have the Washington football team going 13-4, but do the Giants, have they taken the necessary steps to make a legitimate run in that division?
Like I said, I think they're about 2 years away from being a legitimate threat. I believe I have them finishing at 9-8 in the division in second place behind the Redskins, and I think I have the Cowboys third at 8-9. So I do see them taking a step forward. I do not see them as a playoff team or a legitimate threat in that division this year. However, that defense, if you've not taken a look at that defense is going to be a nasty defense for about the next 3 or 4 years. And that is going to be the key to their success, because it's going to help Daniel Jones. It's going to take pressure off Daniel Jones, knowing that if he has a bad game or he's struggling a little bit, that defense is going to be able to hold people to keep them in the game until he can get it going. I think the addition of Galladay was huge. That offensive line is starting to stabilize and it's starting to grow, and that's going to be the big key. And I think that's why he's going to have a lot better year this year, is because of the growth of that offensive line. And with the combination of getting Saquon back, getting Galladay, Sterling Shepard, Evan Engram, who's the other guy that they got, Slayton. This is a team that could be loaded. I think they're going to be that team that surprises people, that they are going to win some games that they should not win at all, but they are also going to lose games to teams that you're going to scratch your head and like, how did you lose to those bums? So it's going to be an up and down year for them. So I do not think they're a legitimate threat this year, possibly next year when they kind of get everything to gel and come together.
So let me ask you this question then, Tori. You said they are not a legitimate threat this year. What can make them a legitimate threat? Is it just a horrible season by the football team? Is it a MVP year by Daniel Jones? What can get them over that hump for you to be a legitimate threat? It's going to start up front with the Hogs. It's got to be that offensive line. If that offensive line can give him time and keep him clean, he has the weapons, he has the knowledge to make the teams pay. He's a very, very smart quarterback. A lot of people, and I was one of them, when the Giants picked him, I laughed and went, "What are you thinking, you absolute morons?" And Daniel Jones actually played well his rookie year. He kind of plateaued and maybe even regressed a little bit last year, but his offensive line was not very good. He didn't have the weapons around him. So I think, though, his offensive line, if that offensive line, I mean, it would have to be a huge, huge step forward for them to, basically they have to become a top 5 offensive line. And I just don't see that happening this year. So
I
if
am
the offensive
being
line comes together, though.
I am being 100% honest when I say this. And nobody ever believes me when I say this. When the Giants picked Daniel Jones, I actually said, that's actually a decent pick. It's not bad. People are going to be mad about it. They're going to hate it because they didn't see much of him in college. But he is actually, if you watch his college film, he was a pretty good college quarterback. I mean, I know a lot of people didn't watch him much in college, so that's why they didn't really know much about him. But he was actually pretty good in college, and I actually decently liked the pick when they got him, and I thought that he wasn't going to be as bad as everybody made him out to be. Nobody ever believes me when I say that, but I promise
the thing
you.
is I will agree with you there because David Cutcliffe, the head coach at Duke, has a knack for developing really good quarterbacks. And I'm trying to remember the other names that he worked with, but he's worked with a lot of really big name quarterbacks and helped develop their skill set. And he did the exact same thing with Daniel Jones.
All right, guys, so we are going to take our last break on the night. On the other side of the break, we got Shop Talks. If you guys want to talk about anything, let us know in the chat here over at youtube.com/Man Hour, and we will discuss it here live, raw and uncut on the Man Hour. But, of course, we got the After Hours show coming up at 10 p.m. East Coast time. And so if you guys are a member, head over to youtube.com/Man Hour and click on the after show there, and we will address some things in the comments. Drew says I was being a little shy tonight. I will talk about that in the after show, and we might talk a little bit of Globetrotters. So who knows what's coming up, guys?
Really?
So Shop Talk coming up here right after this short little break.
Roofing and Siding. Contact them at 812-868-7663 or online at brooksroofingin.com. Brooks Roofing and Siding. Protection you need when nature strikes.
And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckhosh along with D. Wyatt Williams and Tori Anderson tonight. We've had a great show. We talked some little bit of basketball, a little bit of football, and a little bit of baseball. We cover all sports topics here on the Great Man Hour. And guys, I just realized we skipped the most important part of the show. We missed the Packers talk. I totally skipped over that. My bad to all those Packers fans that have tuned in. But I will get back on track tomorrow as we all are covering all 32 NFL teams, buy, sell, and sleeper picks for the upcoming season. So it is time for Shop Talk here. And we did have a fan bring up a question. Let me scroll back up and bring it up. It is from Drew, and he says, what do you guys think of Stephen A's comments about
I mentioned that earlier.
Booker here? So for those that you don't know, I did not know, but Stephen A says Devin Booker is the next Kobe Bryant. So what are your thoughts on that? Is Devin Booker the next Kobe Bryant?
This one is near and dear to my heart, is what I'll say, because Kobe, it was my idol as a kid. Him and LeBron are the two guys that made me fall in love with basketball. And like I said earlier, when I first saw it, I shook my head for a second and was like, no way. I pushed it off. But the more that I really thought about it, there are some very large similarities. The first time that Devin Booker ever stepped into a conference finals, the guy went for 40 points and a triple-double at 13 and 11 on the back end of it. I mean, he played out of his mind, and he is starting to turn into that dynamic, dependable shooting guard that, Kobe was. And now I don't think that they're the exact same players scheme-wise and all that stuff, but I think there are definitely some similarities. And this is coming from someone who grew up watching Kobe play. I mean, it was my first basketball game I ever watched was LeBron and Kobe playing each other when LeBron was on the Cavs and Kobe, of course, was on the Lakers. He didn't play anywhere else. Back in probably 2000. I don't even know. It was a long time ago. I don't remember what year it was. But anyways, that was the first time that I had watched basketball, was those two playing each other, and they were awesome. It was so much fun to watch them play. And I think that, I think Luka, not scheme-wise, I know they're different players, because I think Kobe was a better defender. Kobe was a better perimeter shooter. But as for legacy-wise, I think that there's a lot of similarities. I absolutely do.
Tori, what are your thoughts on that?
There again, the player comparison thing, I really, really don't like it, because you're never going to be Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
But who you can be is Devin Booker.
Devin Booker.
So, great. People can compare you all you want. They could say you're the next whatever. I don't care. Be Devin Booker. Like the fact that he rolled up, into game 6 of their semifinal game in like a 67 Impala with the deep dish Dayton's on it. Like, he went old school. Immediately I fell in love with Devin Booker. That's something Kobe would have never did. That's something flashy that Kobe doesn't do. Devin Booker is Devin Booker. And that's who Devin Booker needs to be. Don't listen to the hype. Don't listen to the comparisons. Be you and play your game. Your legacy will write itself. It does not matter whose legacy came before you. It does not matter whose legacy comes after you. You are writing your own story. And that's why, no, he is not the next Kobe Bryant. He is the next Devin Booker.
Yeah, and Tori, I'm glad you said that, because going through high school, like I was going into high school, and we had a athlete by the name of Paul O'Neill. He was widely recognized as the best athlete in our school, and like everybody wanted to be like him, be Paul O'Neill, be the next Paul. And my dad's like, hey, why don't you just be you? Don't try to compare yourself to like anybody else. And that was some of the best advice that I've ever gotten from my pops. And you nailed it right on the spot, Tori. But with that being said, guys, when we think of Kobe, what do we think of Kobe? We think of that Mamba mentality, right? That killer instinct. I'm going to put the team on my back and carry you, whether you suck or like I'm going to pull the best out of you. Are we really seeing that out of Devin Booker, making the players around him like the best they can be and pull every ounce of energy that they have out of it? I think it's more CP3 than Evan right now.
I think
on that.
CP3 is definitely doing it, but I think Devin is still being a really good leader on that team.
And that's the thing. For me, he's establishing his identity and his leadership role. He has asserted himself as the alpha on that team. When there again, CP3, who knows if he's even going to be there next year, but Devin Booker will be there still next year. Yeah. So he's asserted that this is his team, this is my team, and this is the way we are going to do things, which has Kobe-like traits. I do not know at this point, because he does not have the body of work Kobe does, if you could say he's got that same killer instinct, because we do not know. He's been only in the league, 3 years? This is third year or fourth year?
Fourth, I believe.
So, you can't make that, body of work because it's incomplete. Yeah. As compared to Kobe's
that's what,
career was
I'm not,
complete.
And that's why I'm not saying at all that, especially not play style wise, that they're similar. I'm just saying that there are similarities between the two. The way they stepped into the conference finals, they both had elite showings, and they both showed that they were ready to make that, that next step. So I think like I said, I think that there are similarities. I don't think that at all. I agree with Tori 100%. I don't think at all that Devin Booker is Kobe Bryant, because like you said, Tori, Devin Booker is Devin Booker, Kobe Bryant is Kobe Bryant. It's just that simple. Now, like I said, there is definitely some similarities as for, their success at a young age, how they're playing at a young age. There are a few similarities, but no, I think at the end of the day, Devin Booker absolutely is Devin Booker. Kobe is Kobe. And Tori, you've been hitting the nail right on the head all night tonight, man.
Yeah,
that's what I do.
He is wise and old among our ages. Why you
Hashtag
can add
facts.
mine age and your age, and we still would not be within 10 years of Tori. So that's where all of his wealth of knowledge.
that is also a lie. That's a hashtag lie.
That is not a right. Tori, how old are you?
I am 44.
You're 44. Okay. Wyatt, we are 3 years older than Tori together.
I think my dad is like 44. I want to say. I could be off, I think.
Are you saying my
dad is 44? Huh?
Hey, Dad.
No. See, old enough to be my dad. Not... Never mind. Move on. We have shop talk to get to. Go on now.
Grandpa, is he old enough to be your grandpa? French toast. Stop it. All right, guys. So I want to bring up something I just saw on Twitter. Woj, he is the ESPN NBA insider, says that sources close to Cade Cunningham says he only plans on visiting one team before the July 29th draft, and that is the Detroit Pistons. So he is just like basically saying, I'm going number one overall, and the Detroit Pistons that basically told me that. Tori, is this a wise for Cade Cunningham to just be like, you know what, I'm only visiting the Detroit Pistons and that's it?
No, because it's been done throughout sports history. Like there again, like when there's been a slam dunk, who's going to be the number one pick in the NFL draft. They were already meeting with those players way before they ever even drafted them.
Yep.
Like there was a playbook in that kid's hand before the draft even started.
That's
because
literally
they
what happened
knew
with Joe Burrow
what was
and
gonna
Trevor Lawrence.
It happened with Sam Bradford. Like it was the worst kept secret ever. So it happens all the time. I don't think it's cocky. I don't think it, because teams allow it. The teams have made it happen. So it's not on those kids. They're just like, whatever. I know that I'm going number one overall. They've already told me they're going to draft me. It's like I said, he probably went to Detroit already and is already studying whatever playbook they have for what they're going to run. Dwayne Casey's probably
what
already
playbook?
Dwayne Casey's probably like setting up Zoom calls already to like talk to him.
There is pure dysfunction there. So whatever, like I said, whatever playbook he's going over, I don't know how good of a playbook it is, because I'm sure it'll
Believe
change
it or not,
over the next couple of years.
They actually run plays in the NBA.
Right. Not in Detroit, man. They don't even know what a basketball is sometimes up there. Ever since ever since like what 2006, they've just been a train wreck. And
I mean, they threw Chris Middleton into the trade as a throw-in player for Brandon Jennings. So I'm not going to complain too bad about him for being stupid.
Right. Listen to him earlier. He's like complaining about the Dirk trade. Now he's all happy because this trade worked out with Chris. Look at him now. Jumping all over the place.
I need you guys to take over for about 5 minutes. I need to go put little man in bed. He fell asleep here on my lap, and I need to go put him down. So can you guys take over for about 5 minutes?
Yes.
Packer
talk it is.
Actually, I would like to bring up Brandon's comment here. The D-backs broke their 17-game losing streak as they beat the Brewers last night. So you guys can go ahead and talk about that, Tori.
So if they weren't going to lose every game the rest of the season. So the Brewers are on their West Coast swing. They already split a 4-game set with the Rockies, which I was like not happy with. But considering they lost the first 2 games of that series and then won the last 2, I will take. They lost last night. I don't care. You can lose a game. If you win the series or you split a series, that's still a win. That's a net gain in my book. So I could care less. You can give me crap for it that they lost to the D-backs, that the D-backs broke their 17-game losing streak. Don't care, because if we win the next 2, we still won the series on that. And guess what? That's still 1 more game up above 500. And that's all I've got to say about that.
That's all I've got to say about that. Hey, Buck. Speaking of Forrest Gump, Buck put something on his story today, and it was Cindy. They were somewhere, I don't know where it is. It was the road that Forrest Gump ran on. Whenever he just like stops, and he's just like, "I think I'm just going to go home now."
Now.
Yeah, and it's I slid up on his story and was like laughing and stuff, and he was like, "I think I'm going to go home now." Is what he sent me. But yeah,
did he say that, or did he say I think I'm gonna go home now?
He texts like that too. Puts a bunch of eyes, extends the words.
His text even stutters.
God, poor Buck. We give him so much crap on that. But Brandon also said this just now. Brewers still not in first place, and the Cubs keep losing. Pathetic division. Combs, I totally agree with you, man. Last night was rough.
That division is everything that we all thought it was going to be this year.
Oh, yeah.
I knew the Brewers were going to have good pitching and just be having an anemic offense. So, it's going to be an up and down. It's going to be this way all year. And there was kind of an anomaly too last week. Brandon Woodruff got lit up, and so did Corbin Burns, which has not happened. Neither one has been lit up all year, let alone on back-to-back days. So I don't know. It's going to be an up and down division all year long like this. It's going to be tough sledding for all of us to watch all year long.
All I know is if the Cubs don't win it, I will be okay with that on one condition.
That the
Reds win it. # Tori's getting a tat just as long as the Reds or Cubs win it. I will be satisfied with the Central this year. Hopefully it's the Cubs, but if the Cubs don't win it, hopefully, I'm praying, it's the Reds. Because I would personally love to see you with a Reds tattoo.
I will pay your college tuition if the Reds win the division. If they don't, you owe me what your college tuition is.
No, I'm not doing that. That's stupid. No. Why would I ever take that bet? I'm the bet on the Reds.
Trying to talk bad about my Brewers.
Yeah, you want a free $70,000? No, sir, man. Here we go. The Cubs up 3-0 tonight. Yes, that is awesome. And then Reds are a dumpster fire. Hopefully a dumpster fire that's good enough to go on to win the Central.
I will say, did you see Joey?
We don't care what you have to say, Tori, because that is how we are ending the man hours. Buck comes sliding out of nowhere tonight. The after hours has started, guys. Head over to youtube.com/man hour. If you remember, Tori, I'll let you finish your thought on the after hours. All right. Is that cool?
That was no.
It's still muted again, Tori. My bad. Sorry, dude. I actually tried to unmute you as you muted yourself. There we go. Let's work on it. You can finish your own thought story here on the After Hours Show. It is started, guys. Head over there, youtube.com/manhour. We're there. Have a good night.
Peace.
You guys realize when you mute my mic, you mute the music too. Just want to put that out there.
Yeah, I just